you're talking about comfort food, there's nothing better than mac and cheese. I'm talking the one topped with that crispy panko breading on top. It's gonna be amazing. So let's get right in. Let's start by talking about the cheeses we'll be using in this sauce. That's red mild cheddar, French Gruyere and Parmesan. Cheddar is used more commonly. To it I'm adding the Gruyere for its melting properties and Parmesan for the sharper taste. A good substitute for Gruyere is Gouda, but you can use whatever cheeses you like. That's important is that they melt nicely. On the grating our cheeses, firstly lay down some parchment paper to grate the cheeses on. It makes it a lot easier with the cleanup. I'm using here 200 grams of cheddar and Gruyere each and 70 grams of Parmesan. Reserve a bit of them on the side that we'll use to sprinkle on top of the macaroni before putting it in the oven. I had a total of 80 grams, but it depends on the size of the pan you're looking to cover. Save a bit more than you think you'll need, just to be safe. Put the cheeses on the side and let's move on to the breadcrumbs topping. I'm using 18 grams of panko breadcrumbs, 1.5 teaspoons of oregano and 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. After mixing it all together, let's move to the pan and toast it. Put 40 grams of butter in a medium heated pan and once it's melted add the breading mix. Keep stirring it so it gets equally toasted, but don't go too long. Aim for a medium toast as it will get crispier in the oven. For the pasta add 1 liter or 4 cups of water to boil with enough salt to make any Italian proud. As it starts to boil, add 450 grams or 1 pound of elbow macaroni that will cook al dente. Now for the bechamel sauce, start by melting 60 grams of butter in a heavy bottomed pot. After it has melted, add 60 grams of flour and using a whisk stir continuously. Once added, it may clump up, but don't worry, just continue to stir until it forms into a paste. We need to cook out the raw taste of flour for about 2 minutes or until it smells like some cooked pie crust. But don't let it go too brown, so keep an eye on it. Once cooked, we're ready to add our milk, which is a total of 1 liter or 4 cups. For this I'm using Chef John's method of adding cold milk to the hot roux. Start by adding 100 milliliters or 1/2 cup at a time and stir. It will initially clump up, but have no fear, just continue stirring until it dissolves. Repeat that 1 or 2 more times, after which we're ready to add the remaining of our milk. And again, stir continuously and it will eventually all dissolve and form into a nice silky sauce. Now season the sauce by adding 1 teaspoon of English mustard, 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of grounded pepper. Grate about 1/3 of a regular sized nutmeg and add 1/2 teaspoon of paprika and 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Taste for seasoning and adjust if needed. Add a bit of salt and a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Now we're ready to add the cheeses, so turn off the heat and just dump it all in. Stir to combine and don't stop until it's smooth and there's no individual pieces of cheeses that can be seen. The pasta is ready, strain it and add it to the baking dish. Start with half of the pasta, to which we'll pour all the sauce and mix it all together, after which we'll add the remaining pasta and easily combine it without any pasta going all over the kitchen counter. Lightly tap it to make sure there aren't any air gaps. And now we can sprinkle all the cheeses we reserved earlier and then top it with the toasted panko breadcrumbs. Now it's ready to go in the preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit. It sounds too hot, but we're only looking to get the top nicely melted and crispy. The contents are already cooked. That's why it needs to stay in the oven just for 20 minutes. Mac and cheese is done and ready to be served.